Hello and welcome to the program Issues on ABS Radio and Television. I am Eze Onwuji. Today we shall look at how to protect our environment. Protecting the environment as the world marks World Environment Day. And we have in the studio Professor Chinedu Ogwejo Okoye, Dean, Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Prof, welcome to the program.
Thank you, my people.
All right. We also have in the studio Professor Matthew N. Ono, Chairman, World Environment Day Annual Lecture Celebration. Of course, from the Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Okara, Professor of Geology. Prof, welcome to the program.
Thank you. No, but it's honor.
Honor. Professor Matthew N.
Honor. Professor of Geodesy and Geodynamics.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Done. Alright, first let's get the views of Mr. Commissioner for Environment, Anambra State, Engineer Felix Odimegwu, on government's plans to preserve the environment. We shall return, please stay tuned.
Every June, 5th of June of every year is earmarked for the celebration of the environment. The World Environment Day is very essential. It has its own uniqueness because the environment is very important, and on that particular day, awareness is created in every aspect of environmental concern. It's a day that people are made to be more aware of the environment in which they live. The environment in Anambra State is an essential threat. We may not really have any other earth except this one. And if we don't conserve it, if we don't preserve it, we don't do things that are necessary to preserve the environment around us, we may eventually lose it. So on this particular day, June 5th, it's set aside for every matter that has to do with the environment to be on the discourse, public discourse, awareness being created, sensation programs will continue to go on, and people are made to be aware of how important the environment is and what they should do to also partake in maintaining and conserving the environment. In Anambra State, just like I mentioned, the governor made sure that the environment is given a particular concern. Out of the 5 pillars that the governor marshaled out in his manifesto, he gave environment as one major pillar. And in that arrangement, he also mentioned that the environment is an essential threat in Anambra State. So for this year's World Environment Day, the theme is solution to plastic pollution. In other words, beat plastic pollution. For Anambra State, we're doing a lot. We've actually started the sensitization programs. First and foremost, we've brought all the waste recyclers together. For the first time in Anambra State, we never had it before. We made sure that all the people who are involved in recycling of plastics are brought into one association so that they can easily be managed and regulated, and their operations will be well organized. So for the World Environment Day, we're launching out a program we call an All Anambra Community Plastic Waste Pickup Challenge. In this program, we're getting a wider stakeholder participation, community leaders, communities, president generals, and everyone of concern, to be part of this all community plastic waste pickup challenge. We'll launch this program on the 8th of June. and then every community would strive to compete, pick up every plastic available within their community, and then at the end of 1 month, we would get back and weigh what has been collected. The community that comes highest pickup would receive commendation prize. In doing this, we've categorized the state into urban, semi-urban, and the rural category, so that there will be even competition. This is geared towards ridding the state of plastic waste. Ndị be anyị ndị Anambra na-ekene unu ife anyị na-ekwu n'okwu ya maka the environment gburugburu ebe anyị bi. Ọ dị mkpa rinne na anyị kpachapụrụ anya ife gbasara the environment dị n'ebe anyị bi. Enwere oke n'ọrụ dị onye ọbụla, enwe nke dịrị gọọmenti ime, enwe nke dịrị individuals, enwe nke dịrị onye ọbụla, enwe nke dịrị gị ime yotago ife gbasara behavior, etu esi eme omume. Mgbe nlọkọta n'ozipụ ụmụaka ka paje bụrụ ife na wee nakọta tụọ mmanụ ife a na wee nakọta o blọks egota ọ na-akọsụrụ anyị ide and ide bube etu ọ mebisiela anyị ife niile, iwu dịkwuo ka enwe loss of life. So ọ dị mkpa na anyị ncha niile nwere ife anyị kwesịrị na-eme ọfụma. And ife anyị na-ekwu maka ife plastic challenge anụwa, onye ọbụla chọrọ ịparticipate na ya ga-participate, maka enwere na each of the local governments enwere ebe bụ ebe nwere ike dị na-ebute plastic ọbụla epiki. A na-eme ya enwe coordinators na all the local governments, and this a na-eme ya wete ndị isi bụ ndị na the TC chairman of the local governments. So ife anyị na-eme ife anụnwa bụ ka agba mbọ pikie plastik ọbụla anyị fụrụ n'ụzọ nwere ike ịkọsụrụ anyị nnukwu emebila nnukwu ife na the environment, ka anyị wepụsị ya pikiri ya, then na pikicha ya emechazi ya kpọọ rizọtụ ndị kacha wee pik, anyị ga-enyefe nnukwute ekele, nyefe prize for being the highest speakers within their area. So onye ọbụla ga-agba mbọ na-akaba alụ na-eme ife dị mma n'ihe gbasara the environment.
Yeah, welcome back. That was the view of Mr. Commissioner for Environment, Anambra State, Engineer Felix Odimegwu, who interacted with us on the government's plans to preserve the environment. World Environment Day is the largest global platform for environmental outreach, celebrated by millions of people across the world on June 5 every year. This year's theme focuses on the solution to plastic pollution under the campaign #Beat Plastic Pollution. The reminder that people's actions on plastic pollution matters. So in today's program Issues, we shall look at what environment is and of course what constitutes environment, the importance of protecting the environment, how to curb environmental degradation, and of course the solution to plastic pollution and more. As I told you earlier, we have Professor Chinedu Ogejuafor, Okoye, Dean, Faculty of Environmental Sciences, UNIZIK, Oka, and Professor Matthew N. Ono, Chairman, World Environment Day Annual Lecture Celebration from the Faculty of Environmental Sciences in UNIZIK, Oka, Professor of Geodosy. Did I get it? Yes. Prof, Dean, the Faculty of Environmental Sciences. Well, let's know what environment is. Environment.
Okay. Maybe I should go down to the way that we should carry many of us along to describe what environment is all about. You see, there is a house that God created, and that house, inside that house, He put man and all that He created, put all of them inside it. That is the environment. The house that houses man and all that is that God created is the environment. You can call it man's environment. This environment is unique. This environment has so many arms. You see, we have what we call the physical environment, the things you see. When you look at the physical environment, you will see the major components of the physical environment has to do with the land, which takes place, which holds the vegetation. You have the water body, which holds the streams, the rivers, the oceans, and all that. You have the space, which has to do with air, the air you breathe in. All these things are in the environment. So you see that it is a kind of a house that accommodates man. We talk about preserving this environment because it's the sustaining power of man on earth. When the environment is tampered with, indirectly man's life is tampered with. Because you may be saying, why are we talking about the environment? We talk about it because man's life is tied to his environment. If you distort the environment, which is an ecosystem, you have distorted man's life. So whatever thing that happens to the environment affects man directly. So you cannot shy away from it. So that's why we say, let's talk about this. Because our living long, our being privileged on earth to experience and enjoy what God has made has much to do with our being careful with the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Chinedu Ogejo Okoye, Dean, Faculty of Environmental Sciences, UNIZIK. Or can we come to you, Professor Matthew N. Ogo? Why is it difficult to protect this house God has made for man?
Okay, thank you, moderator. Let me add a little to what he said. Talking about environment, because as Nana, I'm more but you get in as you don't like as a fair. Environment where that be. In another, if for a studio, you've already entered the environment. So many things people do. And from the question you ask, people do so many things to degrade the environment. They carry out so many things like the commissioner was saying, people disposing their refuse indiscriminately. So by that, distorting how the environment should be. So I will ask people's behavior, especially what the personal behavior, is what distorts the environment.
Thank you. Well, now, how do we call this environmental degradation? These people's behavior. How do we go about stopping people from misbehaving and, of course, offending the environment in which we live? Professor Ogejo.
Yes. But you see, we will do less if we shy away from the fact that people are ignorant. You were asking, why are people distorting, why are they bent on destroying the environment? They don't understand that this is the house that is keeping them. They don't understand that a place that God has made to make sure you are kept and sustained should be conserved. We're talking about preserving and conserving the environment that God made. When God finished making the environment, God said it is good. If you go and check the Bible, God said it is good. The job of a man is to preserve and keep what God has made for his own sustenance. So you see, it is first creating a way, it is first removing that ignorance. People don't know that their lives are tied to the environment. So they do all kinds of things, haunting the environment, destroying the environment ignorantly. So now he was talking about the people that are going about to distribute indiscriminate food of waste. They do that because they don't know the implications and several other things they do on the environment. They don't understand the implications. And these things turn back on us. So the first place to start is to start by creating awareness on the role of environment to man's sustenance. So that by the time we get to know this, we'll preserve the trees, preserve water bodies, preserve the animals that God made, because these things are in the environment. We preserve all these things, then it will be good for us.
Environment Day, a day to unite with people around the world and take action to protect and preserve the environment for present and future generations. Let's look at the theme at hashtag beat plastic pollution. That's a problem. And it focuses attention on solutions to plastic pollution. Plastic pollution. Where do we start from? The manufacturers, those that generate the plastic, or the end users, where we start to call the plastic pollution problem?
Yes, all over the place. You see, what we must, we're talking about ignorance. What we must know is that first, the use of plastic causes a lot of problem to man. So our problem has to do with both from manufacturer, from the user, and all that. You know, the plastic itself has to, for us to produce plastic, the chemicals we use in producing plastics are hazardous to our health. That's the starting point. And we are not saying that plastics are not good, but producing them, we produce them from chemicals like gas, oil, even from coal. We get the chemicals from there. And when we engage in producing this plastic, these chemicals, they generate into greenhouse gases that affects man. So even the production itself affects man. That's number one. Number two, when it is eventually produced, the usage, the distribution, of course you see that a number of things today go by plastics. Bottled water, bottled can, even wrap food and all most of it. If you go to the pin now, if you go to any place to buy anything, they will wrap it with something, and that's plastic. And so all these little things are brought up from there. So you see that the items are not bad on its own, but it is not the usage. First is that we have tracked the problem of production. Now, when you use it, where do you keep it? Moderator, look at my problem. The problem is that when plastic is produced, you throw it away, which we call indiscriminate disposal. People go to programs, they take bottled water, they pack these things and go and put it somewhere. They do not decay. It takes tons of years for plastic to decay. It do not decay. And so they generate into a static problem. Some of them they move into the ocean water bodies and they float all over the places. They block the channels. They cause so many hazards on the environment. So you see, what must be done actually is to first see that producing plastic is a problem to us. The climate change issue we're talking about is greenhouse gases that are being generated. That's the problem. Now, after production, the usage, careless using, is also another problem. So these are two ends.
The Commissioner for Environment, when he spoke earlier, and of course he told us the plans government has to tackle environmental problems in Anambra State.
Well, I let first of all, own that as the West, it starts from us. It starts from the companies that produce some of these things. But I remember in the olden days, even now, in the villages that we are saying, if you gather any waste, you don't dispose it, or you sort them out. The one that can, you can dispose it as a manure, you take it to where you're going to. The one that you burn, and you don't take what you get from your house take it to somebody's farm. It will be fine. So if we comport ourselves, first of all, know how to gather it. I want to differ a little bit from what you said the government is or what the commissioner said. You see, some of the people that are following are complaining that there are waste everywhere. The government needs to.
No, not everywhere. He didn't say everywhere. He mentioned a particular rules that leads to main market.
Okay, not everywhere. The majority of the places. Because I live in Okuno. I live in Okuno, this side of Okuno. So we have so many places. You know that we used to buy these polythene bags, which is also waste, and we use it to collect our waste from the house, and we deposit it somewhere where government designated that we should do it, and later this government said that we should keep it somewhere in our house, like the vehicles will come and pick them. But these vehicles are not regular, and it has helped in creating so many places like where you don't refuse, and it's growing. So maybe let me also use the opportunity to add my voice to it that they should do more. Since they have contracted it to some people that are going to do, they should also supervise them.
I like that word, do more, which means they are doing something. Alright, we want to go and want to take your advice to our people. We use these plastics. We generate waste. Because they generate waste, you can guess and dispose it. So what method, how do you talk to people to help protect the environment and generate, when you generate waste, you dispose correctly?
Okay, thank you, moderator. You see, I have to also say that we need to understand the implications of not disposing plastics properly. We need to understand it very, very well. If we do that, it will help us in managing plastics. You see, like Bob began to say, if you do not dispose this plastic properly, it affects your health. Yes, because if for any reason you step into consumption, it causes cancer. It causes so many health issues. So I would have actually said that what we would have done is to reduce plastic production from the point of manufacturing. Yes, it is to make a legislation that will reduce plastic production from the point of manufacturing, so that we will have less use of it at the consumer level. Now, the idea of KTL with this, would I have? Yes, EJ to any of these shops, KTL. You go with your bag, my brother. You go with your bag. You are not doing this KTL anything. You go with your bag. You know you're going to buy something. You say by saying KTL. You know. So you go with something because you need to begin to do a sense of work where you use less of plastics, but all these things we're using, so that we'll begin to see how we can be delivered from this plastic usage. Now you see, recycling appears to be an immediate something. Say recycling. The process of recycling generates into other problems. Number one, it costs money, a lot of money to recycle. Number two, the gases you emit by recycling is also affecting our health. So I'm telling you, I'm looking at all this, and you cannot do recycling without insulting. If you don't manage this plastic properly at the point of collection, you cannot carry garbage and the refuse and the plastic and dump into the recycling machine. Yes.
And where the consciousness individually and severally that this thing is nice, and Not when you are not involved, that is, you start preaching or when you so, but you should, like somebody said, now I am a government, okay? Now money for government. That's, I work somewhere. Now don't pay na go to.
How much they mean?
How much they mean? You make imitation of what you say. If you have the conscience that I am going to put this thing in order, that is, put it this way. We, you know, like you are saying, what do we use? He said the restriction in production. And also the restriction in usage. Like, you know, they use this paper to wrap airline. Okay? Whichever one you call it, in fact, it doesn't look attractive, but they say that it's not good.
It's not really good for our health.
That's for our health.
Because
when you are eating,
the chemicals seep into the food.
Why will you use the solution? I don't. Personally, I prefer the one you use the apple or apple kettle, the apple joke to make it. So if we revert to those ones, it will be good. That is restriction in usage. So we can get our health back.
I want to thank you, Professor Matthew N. Ono, Chairman, World Environmental Lecture Celebration from the Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Professor of Geodesy and Geodynamics. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Joe.
We also like to appreciate you, Professor Chinedu Okoye, Dean, Faculty of Environmental Sciences, Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Professor of Urban Planning and Environmental Management.
Thank you
for coming.
Fine.
Thanks a lot. Join millions around the world to beat plastic pollution. That's the theme for this year's World Environment Day. On behalf of everybody in the studio, and of course, my producer Don Onyenji and Eze Omoji. See you again. Bye for now.